Hello, everyone. So recording has started. Welcome everyone to IELTTA Academy. Uh, my name is Mr. Emad Elhakeem. I am an English language teacher, teacher trainer, founder of IELTTA Academy. Today's session is about discussing one of the problems in the learning context, which is motivating learners or students to learn. The first question for you is, what is meant by motivation, and is it important for students? Or what do you think? Um, why is motivation important for learners or students, and why it is not important if you think it is not important? Think about the answer to this question for 1 minute. You can use the chat box to add your answers to the question. So the question again is, why or is motivation important? Why and why not, if it is not important? Yes, it is. Yes, Mr. Abdussalam says that yes, it is important. Why do you think it is important? Can you write an answer? Can you all take part in answering this question? I want to, first of all, we can think and share our ideas. Okay, so motivation is very important, of course, to in learning any language. And without motivation, students will not continue learning such a language. Uh, the next question is about, what are the types of motivation in learning a language? What are the types of motivation? Exactly, Mr. Abdussalam, because learning cannot happen without motivation. So what are types of motivations, if you have an idea about learning a language? So some students come to school, internal, external, exactly, very well. So what we call internal or interior or exterior motivation, which Jeremy Harmer referred to in his book, The Practice of English Language Teaching. The next question, which is related to the topic. So what makes students unwilling to learn in the classroom? What makes students unwilling to learn in the classroom? Any ideas? Is it because of the student, or could be because of the teacher, practice? Any ideas? Yes, could be lacking goals. It could be that students come to the classroom with goals, but also they lose these goals because of some factors in the learning context itself. Let's have task number one. Read this case and think about where is the problem. Here is the case. Read it for 1 minute and think about where is the problem. Can you see my screen? So what do you think what was her problem? What was Sally's problem again? Okay. What was her problem? Can you jot down your ideas in the chat box? Okay, so uh, look at these, read these possibilities for 2 minutes and decide which of ones are the most relevant to her problem. You can write your answer in the chat box. So all of the answers are possible, but in the situation, in her situations, answers number C and F are the most likely. Sometimes teachers often adopt a manner and a way of speaking according to who they are teaching. It is possible that the students who are complaining feel it is important for teachers of any subject uh, to really connect with their students. If you do this successfully, you will really help students become motivated to learn. This is what we call also having a good rapport with students. The word rapport, can anyone give me like a definition for this word? Uh, so rapport is like the relationship between the teacher and the learner. When the environment of learning is based on that good rapport, of course, students will get more motivated. Task number 2, teacher behaviors. In the coming question, letters A to E below describe teacher behaviors that could cause students to react in a negative way. I want you to make notes about possible students' reaction to these teacher behaviors. This is a list from 1 to A. Please read the list, and think about how the student's reaction would be for such a situation. So number A, the teacher enters the classroom and looks at the learners over the top of her glasses without saying anything. She looks a bit angry and waits until all students are quiet. She then questions them in a loud voice. What do you think will happen in this case? You could answer this in the chat box that you see. Number B is a teacher enters the classroom, looks quickly at the students, and immediately opens the course book. She asks the students to do the same thing. The teacher doesn't look at her learners and questions them about the material in the course book. What is the expected reaction from the students? Question number C. The teacher tells a joke in class. The students don't really understand it, but the teacher laughs loudly anyway. Situation D, the teacher talks for a long time and never varies the pitch and tone of her voice or his voice. Situation number E, the teacher creates a lot of fun activities to help motivate her learners. She even makes a cake once a week so they can have morning tea together in the classroom. Here we have an answer for which one she didn't get engaged. Yes, Mr. Absalam, so which situation? Here is a feedback about the question. There is an infinite variety of visible students' reaction. The reactions described below are based on real situations. For situation number A, when the teacher enters the classroom and looks at the learner over the top of her glasses without saying anything, she looks a bit angry and so on. The students would actually wouldn't understand any of the teacher's questions, even though they know the answer. The students remain silent. Situation B, when the teacher enters the classroom, looks quickly at the students and immediately opens the course book. She asks them to do the same thing. The teacher doesn't look at her learners and questions, so there is no eye contact here. So the reaction of the students would become restless and begin to whisper to each other. Situation C, even if the teacher tells a joke in a class and the students actually don't understand it, the teacher ignores everything and laughs loudly. So the reaction would be students are polite but very distant to the teacher. They do what she asked them, but they are very quiet in class. D, when the teacher talks for a long time and never varies the pitch and tone of his voice, so his voice will be monotonous, the students actually would complain to the director of studies that their teacher is boring. Many of them want to change the class or to change the teacher. In E, the teacher creates a lot of fun activities to help motivate their learners, even she makes a cake and so on, so they can have morning tea in the class together. Students' reaction would be, students will complain to the director of studies they tell her that they feel they are not learning anything by only playing games and eating cake. What's the answers to these questions or problems? But of course, there are many answers to these questions, but did you expect this kind of answers? Okay. Next skill is about
welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an attendee.
the next is conclusion about this kind of skill. So apart from creating problems in the classroom, the teacher and the classroom, inappropriate teacher behavior can create a generally negative atmosphere for the learners. It becomes harder for the teacher to teach and for the students to learn when the learning environment has an uncomfortable atmosphere. Task 3, identifying the problem. In the coming task, statements from 1 to 5 say clearly what the problem is with the teacher's behavior in each situation. I want you to match the problems to the behavior below. Take like 5 minutes to look into the problems and the behavior. On the left, you can find the problems. On the right, you can find the solutions or the behavior. would be for number one, the teacher forgets that most students want to learn rather than just to have fun. This will be actually attached to number A. So the teacher enters the classroom and looks at the learners over the top of her glasses without saying anything. Oh, sorry, for number E, the teacher creates a lot of fun activities to help motivate the learners, and she even makes a cake also we eat. The teacher voice is monotonous. So he talks for, or she talks for a long time. This comes with number D. Never carries the pitch or tone of her voice. The teacher misjudges the interests of the students. This will gonna go with number, Mr. Absalam says number B. Yes, exactly. And finally, the teacher is too strict with the students. This would go with number B. That's the teacher enters the classroom, looks quickly at the students, and doesn't look at her learners and so on. The teacher has poor eye contact with the students. This is with number B. Well, so what we deduce from the situation, the key skill is that if the learning environment is negative, the responsibility is on the teacher to do something about it. Students often don't have the skills to deal with the situation, and it is in the end, the teacher's job is to manage the learning environment as constructively as possible. The first and the key step is working out what the problem is so that you can do something about it. And the next task looks at some strategies for solving these motivation problems. Task 4 is about getting help. In this task, you are going to match the problems with the solution again. And here you can find the problems and solutions. Think about how are you going to match them. Take 3 minutes to think about it. There might be more than one solution for one problem. So after thinking about these problems, so if the teacher forgets all that most students want to learn rather than just to have fun, what are the possible answers here from A to F? So one of the solution is would be number E. I think would be the best solution here. That is, you have to find out from your students what interests and motivates them. The second one is the teacher's voice is monotonous. It means that you don't change your voice. It's in the same level all the time. Here, there are many possibilities that you can ask, for example, a colleague to observe you and give you feedback. This is okay. Or think about using gestures and facial expressions, more information clear to the learner could happen. You could ask a colleague to video you or record your lesson and watch yourself. For number 3, the teacher misjudges the interests of the students. It could be that you could ask a colleague to observe you. It could be a good solution, more than one solution actually. The teacher has poor eye contact with the students. Also, you could either to ask a colleague to observe you and give you feedback, or you can video yourself and then see what is going on. These are possible actually answers. So as you can see from the feedback of the task, that one problem could have many possibilities. Before we end this webinar, I'm just asking you to think about your teaching. Think about your teaching, think in the following, and try to ask this question. When I'm teaching students, how much am I in the role of a performer? Think about things like your voice, your physical energy, your eye contact, your body language. Note that your thoughts, not your thoughts in your teaching log. You should have something like a teaching log in which you can record the situations. Of course, I know that many teachers want to do this, but you have this recorded in your head or your mind, but after a period of time, you might forget. The advantage of writing situations or thinking about your teaching, it will help you later in your career so that when you remember things, you can add or find solutions to such problems. If you are interested in exploring more how you motivate your students, you could try any of the solution or ideas in task 4, or you could also keep a diary of the mood of your students and your mood to see if there is any connection between them. And finally, if you want to find out more, you could go to pages 98 to 104 of the Practice of English Language Teaching, 4th edition by Jeremy Harmer, by Pearson 2007. And there is actually another further discussion on what motivation is and where it comes from on pages 112 and 113 of the same book. there is also an interesting discussion of the teacher's role as a performer and the effect this can have on students. Before I go, do you have any questions? I'll write here. If you have any questions, you can. I will share with you the presentations link. And thank you all for attending the webinar. And please, if you have any feedback regarding the webinar, don't hesitate to contact with me. This is my email. So tell me if you like the webinar, this kind of experiment on using this kind of webinar, or it would be a better idea to make our coming webinars in Zoom. Thank you all for taking part and for answering the questions. For more information, you can find us on Facebook, IELTTA Academy, or in LinkedIn or Twitter. Thank you, and have a nice time. I'm open to questions if you would like to use your microphone. Or you can raise your hand and make you a presenter so you can talk. Okay, thank you.